Hey, what's up, everybody? This is FD from Rolling with FD, and we have a great episode here where we have an interview with Chris of the Cardstock Trading Show. We're going to sit down with Chris, talk about the evolution of his collecting. What is he collecting in the past? What is he looking at now? And why? The crucial part always is why. What is his philosophy and strategy? Then we're going to talk about the evolution of his show and much more. I think this is something that you really want to watch. We talk about shows. We visit those in LA and beyond. It's great to talk to the people that actually host the show on why they hosting. What is their contribution to the hobby overall? What are their thoughts and philosophies about the market in the future? So without further delay, let's dive in and talk to Chris. This is a great conversation. It was a great time spent with him. Let's go. Who's rolling with FD? Who's rolling with FD?
I'm rolling with FD.
What? Who's rolling with FD?
I'm rolling with FD.
Talk to him. Well, y'all know I'm FD, and I'm here with Chris from Cardstock Trading Show, and we want to talk to him a little bit about his background, the show, what's going on in the future. So I just wanted to start with, if you could walk people through kind of what you collected, when did you start collecting, and why?
So I started, I'm 42, started 30 years ago collecting, 12 years old, going to the baseball card shop with my dad, my mom, buying some packs, buying some cards. Back then, it was definitely not like what it was now.
Yeah, just right.
So, Jordan was my hero back then. A lot of guys from that era were my heroes. So I would collect whatever I could afford, right? Do odd jobs to buy a couple packs. They're nothing like the packs are now, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, I knew kids. We grew up, cut grass, did everything.
Cutting grass, doing whatever, mowing the lawn, cleaning up, whatever you had to do. But at a certain point, unfortunately, my parents split, and it was just by my mom by herself. So she worked 2 jobs.
Okay.
My brother had left, so it was just me by myself. And we didn't make some extra money besides doing the jobs that I did.
Yeah.
So, I did some other odd end jobs and things like that. But then I started going to card shows, baseball card shops, buying some cards here, flipping some cards, making some deals. Next thing you know, moved up later on to Frankensons, which we all know about. I learned the business from a guy named John Agurney. He passed away some years ago. He had probably the largest Jordan collection I'd ever seen in the entire world.
Okay.
Even to this day, I would say that. I don't know what happened with his Jordan collection because we didn't really, we kind of separated a couple of years ago, not because of anything bad, but just because in the industry, and, I got older, my daughter, things like that. Long story short, started setting up at Frankensons, ended up working for Santa Monica Sports Cards for many years.
Yeah, I know that.
Todd Krosner, a bunch of guys over there. Learned the business from them. From there, started setting up at Frankensons, did Van Nuys Airtel Plaza, if you guys know about Van Nuys Airtel. Used to have Eric Beckerman used to set up shows there with Naxcom, I think it was.
Okay.
That was sort of like the eBay of sports cards during that time. Had my daughter, went out of the game. Had a lot of cards left over.
Things happen.
Things happen, right? Got back in the game a couple years ago, had a couple buddies of mine. Bought some cards and some other stuff, so I've always been buying, but didn't think about any shows and stuff like that. During the COVID, obviously cards really took a turn for the good, the industry in general. Had some conversations with some vendors and some other buddies of mine and said, hey, why don't you start a show in the Valley? So we decided to start a show in the Valley, and it's kind of taken from 30, 40 tables, and now we're up to 200 tables. Now we're moving, like we said, to the next level, and here we are. So that's kind of my story.
When you collect, what athletes do you collect? What's your strategy? What do you look for?
So I've always been, obviously when I was younger, I was more of into anybody who my athletes were, like Jordan. Kobe wasn't around, LeBron wasn't around. But Hakeem, Drexler, all the old school players, Barkley, all those guys. I collected all those guys, Malone, Stockton. But now, things have changed. You still collect, those players if you like them. But I'm more of a baseball guy.
Okay.
I'm a real big baseball guy. So I'm buying guys in the minor leagues from right now, basically. And I'll hold them for years. I would say probably one of the better pickups I bought was I bought a stack of about almost 1,000 Aaron Judge Bowman Chrome rookies for about 30 cents each. When Aaron Judge hit those home runs his rookie year, sold them off for about $50 to $100 a piece, made a whole lot of money on that. So that's kind of my game. If I'm giving you any kind of strategy, if you're buying, if you're listening, when it comes to baseball, buy the bigger market teams. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Red Sox.
That's good advice.
The other thing that I would say is, and this is just preference, I wouldn't buy pitchers. I would buy positional players.
We were talking about pitchers and quarterbacks. Sometimes it's very difficult. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's pitchers. They throw their arm out. They have a couple of good games. They have a couple of bad games. They have one good season, bad season. I find it very difficult to invest in a pitcher. Catchers don't usually bring a whole lot of money, but you never know. We'll see what happens. But the positional players, the shortstops, the outfielders, the first basemen, the power sluggers, a lot of these rookies that are coming up, those are the positions that they're in. They move some of them from college just to be in that, for that organization, to put them in there. And so I'm a speculator on a lot of the young guys. I bought early on somebody's example is Bobby Witt, Julio Rodriguez, Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green. These are just some of the names that I bought early on. Big guy that I'm on is Jason Dominguez of the Yankees.
Yes.
I know that his hype was really high and it's come down a lot. He had an okay season. He finished the season pretty well. But I'm still a big believer in him long term. Again, we're talking about a big market team, Yankees, right? So that's kind of the way that I do it now. Even when I go and buy, I'm more of a raw guy.
Okay.
I don't buy a whole lot. I don't buy a whole lot of slabs. If you saw my collection at home, I've got boxes and boxes of raw. Some people may think that's not the way to go, but how do you get a card graded? It comes from raw, right?
Yeah.
So I like to pick up 10 of one card versus buying one raw card, right? Because maybe out of those ones we get 5 10s, and then we can turn that into that. You know what I mean? So raw is my way that I've always gone.
What do you think of a guy named like Wanda Franklin? What do you think?
I think he's a stud. I bought him early on too.
Yeah.
His prices have come down a little
They
bit,
have. I've
a
seen
little
that.
bit, but not
Yeah.
too much,
Yeah.
which makes sense because this guy is probably one of the better rookies in the league, if not the best rookie in the league, right?
All around player.
If he had a whole year, he probably would have won Rookie of the Year,
Yeah.
in my opinion. The only thing that goes against him a little bit is he plays for the Rays.
That's right.
Although they get a lot of media because they're always in the playoffs, right? And they're going to the World Series last year. So he's another guy. His prices have kind of, especially when it comes to autographs and things, you can still get a base chrome for $70 to $100. You know, that's not a bad investment when you look at somebody like Tatis or Guerrero, things like that. But I like him. I think he's a good overall player, good prospect. We'll see what his future holds. But there's some guys in the minor leagues that people should watch out for. Off the top of my head, we can talk about a guy that didn't have a good season last year, Cody Hose. He's on the Dodgers.
Yep.
From the Yankees, we've got Anthony Volpe, who came out of nowhere this year, literally, and now he's their number one prospect above Dominguez. So it's always good to speculate. Take a chance on a rookie, right? Take a chance on a young guy. It's fun to do that because you never know what you're going to get in the next couple of years, you know? But it's all about patience. That's what I practice. I practice patience. If you're trying to flip something real fast, you don't want to go that game. You don't want to go that way. If you're going to sit on something for a couple of years or maybe a year or two and have a nice gem from there down the road, because it's a pipeline, right?
Yeah,
you sit
that's
on
what I
some of
believe.
these rookies.
That's what I believe.
Some of these rookies.
And everybody that watches the show knows that that's my philosophy. And when I do buy something, I've already done some research. And I'm thinking about that player for the long term and what they're about to do. I can't really get into the flip game.
Yeah. If that's the biggest thing. It's like you got to do your research. It doesn't matter if you're new to the game or you've been involved in the game a long time. Comps are great and all that kind of stuff, but why don't you read about the player?
That's right.
Read about the team. Read about the position. See who's blocking his position, because you're not going to dip a ton of money into somebody, even if you're buying them raw or graded, unless you know, especially when it comes to baseball, they've got to be able to open themselves to get in position to be able to play, right?
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense if you buy a guy and you think you're going to start center field for the Angels and Mike Trout's there.
That's right.
Right? So, again, really more than anything is doing your homework. I think if you do your homework, it won't bite you as bad as it could bite you for other people that don't do their homework, right? But guys like yourself that are informative, that have things like this, I think that it's important for you to watch a video for stuff like this to get other people's opinions, because this is just my opinion,
That's right.
right? At the end of the day, you're going to do what you want to do. Just because I run the show doesn't mean I know all the stuff, because I really don't. I'll tell you one thing that I am hyping right now.
What's up?
And it's not sports related.
What's up?
It's MetaZoo. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of MetaZoo.
Yeah, we know MetaZoo.
But MetaZoo is something that I've actually been buying some boxes and putting them away. I don't know what it is. I'm not a Magic guy. I'm not a Pokemon guy. But there's something about this that sniffs that it's going to be somewhere in between that, right? So if you can get in on MetaZoo, I bought all the boxes they had here today. There was only a couple. And I put them away. And that's the thing, patience, right? You
True.
can't always, guys want to flip and make a whole bunch of cash. And that's good, and that's fine. You can do that. But if you practice patience and you stick something away for 6 months or a year,
That's
you
right.
may be pleasantly surprised.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So,
And I've done research that looks at savings accounts, IRAs, other accounts. Sports cars in the last 5 years have outpaced those.
which, by the way, I'm a banker.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that by trade. I'm a banker, so
I'm talking to a guy who knows.
This. I've even practiced and I should say preached to some of my business clients as well as some of my friends that are bankers and in the industry, and I told them, you want a safe investment when it was cheaper.
Yes.
Buy a Kobe rookie when it
Yes.
was before all this happened.
Yes.
Buy a LeBron rookie. These are investments that aren't going to make you 2, 3, 4%. They're going to gain. You could put your kids through college. If you were buying LeBron rookies, which, by the way, I got to give a shout out to my buddy. His name is Jimmy. I told him many years ago to buy some LeBron Chrome rookies. He bought them for $100 a piece for me.
I remember they were priced at that.
Yep. And now they are what they are now, right? You can literally put your kids through college if you do this the right way.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So it's definitely a worthwhile investment. Not to say that stocks and bonds and all that other stuff
It's
isn't.
a part of the portfolio.
Correct. Be diversified. That's the other thing I would
That's
say.
right.
Diversify your portfolio. That's why I always say don't be top heavy in one sport. I've talked to some of the dealers. If that sport or that product is not so hot, at least if you're dipped into a little bit of some other things, you can sort of withhold the tide of how things kind of come and go with the waves. So definitely diversify your portfolio. Slabs, raw, whatever else.
What about autographs? Do you collect autographs, memorabilia, bats,
yeah.
balls, things like that?
So I have a big autograph collection. Do you want to know who I have?
Yeah, a few of them.
I've got the Jordans, the Brady. Brady's my player, by the way. Brady's
love Brady,
Brady's
too.
my guy.
Yeah.
I've been a New England. By the way, I'm a New England and an Atlanta Braves fan, so I've been real spoiled the last couple of years now
Yes, you
here.
have.
I know the Dodger fans. They're all right because they didn't want to see the Astros win, so they're
That's
on my
right.
side. I
That's
can wear an
right.
Atlanta hat in LA. It's not too bad. But yeah, I've got some Kobe stuff. I got some Jordan stuff. I got some Brady. Actually, my prized possession is a Super Bowl helmet by the Patriots, autographed by everybody.
Beautiful.
So that's probably my prized
Beautiful.
possession. I have that. I just picked up a Vladimir Guerrero bat today.
Okay.
So I just did the 4. I got Soto, Tatis, Acuna, and Guerrero.
Okay.
So I'm done with those guys. Those are probably the future of baseball in terms of what you see, right? I'm a big jersey guy. Autograph. I like memorabilia. I like my
So
office.
I love this. I
Yep.
love this stuff.
I love it.
I came up early in memorabilia, going to shows, getting autographs. That's really what I did for a long
We
time.
used to send it in the mail to
Yeah,
get the
man.
autograph. We don't know if that was the person
Yeah,
signing it,
that's
but
right.
still, it was nice
That's
to get
right.
it, right? And the thing is when you see like an RPA or you see an autograph card and everybody's hyped about LaMelo and all that, that's great. But why not have a jersey on your? Why not have
From
a
his
ball?
rookie season.
Why not have a ball? To me, no discount to the cards because that's easier to store and so on and so forth,
yeah.
right? But there's so many different RPAs, and then there could be so many different jerseys. But to me, that's just something that's nice to have in your house, and
I
it's
agree.
it's a conversation
Yes,
piece,
yeah.
right? It's a conversation piece, right? So I've got my guys up on my wall in my office. My wife lets me do that.
So you get stuff framed.
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
I get it framed. I have a couple jerseys, like an Adrian Peterson jersey, a couple other jerseys that aren't framed. But most of my stuff is framed. Most of my stuff is in cases and things like that. But I actually, to be honest with you, I get more excited about getting an autographed bat or an autographed jersey than I do about some of these cards. I just like the feeling of having it.
I have been there historically, and then I started paying attention more to what's going on in the card market.
Yeah.
And then how do I want to collect in the card market? It may be totally different than other people that are out there. What do I want to do? What cards do I want to go after? I'm primarily looking at GOAT players now established or have been who are Hall of Famers or who will be that are coming up.
And you know who they're coming.
And I know they're coming. So I'm focused on those people. When I see certain things in you, when I see consistency, you're scoring at a certain average. When you play a good team or a good player, do you step up? When I start seeing stuff like that? So a player like now,
Are you not injured all the time?
That's right. Are you not hurt?
Are you? Yeah. Are you? Here, look. Whether you believe it or not, or whether you like this guy or not, Tom Brady is probably going to go down, and this is just my opinion, as probably in our generation, of every athlete.
That's right.
Okay, because people don't understand what he's accomplished at this point in time, and really, it's a shame that he just gets this credit from last year's Super Bowl, because his cards really didn't have the credit up until the last 2 years, I'd say, year and a half, 2 years ago.
That's right.
Which, in my opinion, they're still too cheap. I mean, if you can, I don't know what 10s are going for in his rookie year, but probably 15 to 20 grand. I mean, I'm sorry, but that should be above Kobe. I love Kobe, but it should be above Kobe. It should be above LeBron. He's hitting the status of a Jordan.
Yeah.
He's got rings on almost every finger, right? The man is MVP. He's breaking records left and right. I think he's coming up on another record here soon this season. I don't remember what it is. Something Peyton Manning holds.
Well, we'd have never thought any person would ever have 80,000 yards passing.
Never. And I don't know that will happen again, because I think he was hurt literally, that I can recall, 1 year.
What is his name?
Matt Castle got lucky, got that nice deal.
Exactly.
Right? Since then, the man's never been hurt.
No.
And, everybody can say it's the Tuck rule, so maybe that's part of the reason why. But you know what? It is what it is. He's consistent. He's been consistent. And he proved that he can win without Bill Belichick, even though it hurts me to see him win without the Patriots.
Do you think that when he retires and people then look around and don't see that kind of talent, that then they'll start paying attention on this guy was great?
I don't know that it'll, when he initially retires, but when these people really see, I know that they're doing a lot of documentaries and stuff nowadays, something they should have done a long time ago. Yeah,
that's right.
Like Jordan should have been Jordan, not because of his documentary. Jordan was Jordan.
That's right.
I mean, come on, let's be real here. There's no greater player in basketball, in my opinion.
I agree
ever.
with you.
No, I don't know that I'll ever see that, right? I mean, he's just an iconic figure. If you go to China, anywhere you go around the world, you say Michael Jordan, everybody knows him, okay? That's how Tom Brady's approaching at this point, right? He's an iconic player. So I think that with these documentaries, it's still putting it to light, like, who he is, and more people are recognizing that. But I only think that once he retires, we don't know what he's going to do. We don't know if he'll go into broadcasting. We don't know if he'll own a team. So that'll all depend, right? But I think maybe a year to 2 years after he retires, and then once he hits the Hall and things like that, I think people are going to recognize, like, dude, this dude was, like, a baller. Like, this dude is, like, serious. Like, if you want to compare anybody to anybody in football, you better compare him to Brady.
That's right.
I mean, he's already the greatest.
When we grew up, Joe Montana.
Oh, yeah.
If you'd have told me a quarterback would be better than Joe Montana, I thought you were crazy.
And then years before that, who were people saying? Namath and some of these other guys, right? Here's the other thing that I'll say about Brady, and I guess I'm hyping on him, but he's not a mobile quarterback, right? So he doesn't run for a lot of yards. So he's got to understand the defenses. He's got to have that pocket awareness, and it just goes back to the fact that the man doesn't get hurt. I mean, yeah, his line has been solid for him, but he's the Hall of Famers recently are the Peyton Mannings, right? They're the smart quarterbacks. No disrespect to the other ones. They're the smart quarterbacks because they didn't have the running ability like you see Lamar Jackson and all that. And don't get me wrong, I love seeing that too, right? But if you can't throw the ball and you can't read defenses, you're not going to be in the league very long.
And the thing about Brady is the ball here, like the average quarterback you see, is it here or here? If you're running a route in this direction, you see a lot of guys reaching back. Brady's going to hit you. I don't care where he's at on the field. In stride, ready to go. And then that just helps the confidence of the guys who break the huddle and go out to run their route.
Yep.
They know this guy's going to get me the ball. So I'm going to bust my ass on this route to make sure that I'm in position.
Keep Antonio Brown in check. Tom Brady can keep anybody in check.
And then you got people fail to realize Randy Moss left Oakland. He was suspended, wasn't playing, came to the Patriots.
Minnesota.
No, he was in Oakland.
Oh, was he there?
Randy Moss was in Oakland.
Oh, wow. I thought he went to Minnesota.
He went to Minnesota to Oakland, got suspended, wasn't playing, with the coach from the 70s, running a
he was a problem,
7-foot drop. And then he went to the Patriots. You don't hear nothing else about they're breaking records.
Yeah, breaking records. He makes, the thing is with Brady, and this is another thing people don't understand, like, the man is worth, tons of money, right? But he would minimize his salary that year
Make the team
to
better.
bring the team better. Come on, if that's not, forget what the man has done. If that's not a team player, I don't think there's anybody. Maybe there's some whatever, but there's probably nobody that will speak nationally about Brady in a bad way. They're
right.
always talking good about the man, and he just makes football fun to watch. Patrick Mahomes is the man, you know. I don't care what kind of season he's having. Their defense is atrocious.
They are.
Patrick Mahomes is potentially could be the next GOAT. We don't know.
It's about longevity.
It's about
not being
longevity. He's been hurt once already. He still came up. But it's, you know, the game is different now. The teams are paying up for these players. Brady was working with some like Welker and Julian Edelman. They were not star
He didn't have Hall of
wide
Famers
receivers.
until he got Randy Moss.
No. I mean, they were working with
Brown back in the day.
Yep. Ben Watson for a little bit
Patton
there.
was on the team. Yep.
So patchwork defenses, players, and things like that. So generational talent. My generation, I probably won't see anybody greater than him. But I'm just happy that I got to see him in a game, and I get to see him in person because we don't know how many years do you think he's got left?
I would say 2 or 3.
Yeah, I would say it depends
He
on.
could play beyond that, but I don't think he will.
Yeah, I think his family at this point is gonna draw him away. But you know, I could talk about Brady for hours,
I agree.
truthfully. But that's. I made one mistake a couple of years ago, and I
What'd you
sold
do?
my PSA 10 Brady rookie. Thought I could
Top
get
strong.
it. Yeah. And I thought I could get it later on. You know, I'll get it later on, and I can still get it, but it's not gonna.
But just so everybody out there knows, if you have been collecting for a while, or you'll probably see this when you first start, that's gonna be something you're gonna get rid of that you wish later that you had. That's a part of the process. Chris is good enough to share his story. A lot of people walking around will not share their story, but there is a story.
Well, I'll tell you a worse story. I had a Michael Jordan 10 rookie, and I sold that for about $6,000. Fleer rookie.
How long ago?
Right before. Let's see here. I would say maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. Right before well, it was definitely before the documentary. But again, you know, we didn't know how COVID changed the game.
You could have never.
Yeah, we could have never dreamed people were buying houses with a Jordan rookie. Okay. You know, but you know what? You live and you learn, right? That's part of the industry. You can't cry about what happened before. It can hurt a little bit.
That's right.
But you can't cry about it. And, you know, we won't have a player like that ever again. But it doesn't mean that you can't start collecting or you can't collect somebody else. And that's the most. Look, I'll leave you guys with this. Maybe you have some more questions.
Go ahead.
The most important thing about collecting is have fun.
That's right.
If you don't have fun, if you don't enjoy it, if you're sitting at home stressed out because you got a whole box of cards that you spent thousands of dollars at, and you're wondering how the hell you're going to move this stuff because some of it's dipped or this, that, and the other, at the end of the day, you gotta have fun with this stuff. Yeah, you can make a living from this. Yeah, you can do some nice trades, and you can look like the big boy with the big card and all that, and that's great. But if you're not enjoying the industry, that's what it was designed for.
That's right.
It was designed as a little boy, to be able to buy the packs and get something nice out of it and do these. I think some of that's been lost in the industry. That's one thing that I would say that I'm a little sad about is the younger generation. The Gen X generation, the teenager generation, it's cool to see them in it. But the young generation,
I talk about this all the time.
You don't see them in there because they can't afford it. And if their parents aren't rich or don't give them the money, they walk around these shows looking at $100 or $1,000 cards.
What do they do with that?
And they're not gonna. Yeah, they want that card, and they bag it. I wish that some of the companies would stop making the cheap stuff that you just basically throw it away and that's all the kids can buy. But I also understand the industry as a whole. You know, it's a money industry now too. So that would be the only thing, and that's why when we come to the show, we don't charge kids to get in the show. I mean, you shouldn't anyways, but I wish I had more stuff to give out for free, but at Halloween we gave out cards, we gave out candy.
We try to hand out free cards, baseball, basketball, Pokemon all the time.
So, I mean, and that's good that you do that because I want to see more of his generation. See him over there with the backpack? Because you know what? There's a lot of guys that jump into this stuff when it's hot, and as soon as all this starts to cool down, because it will cool down, guarantee you, at some point. It ain't going to be hot forever.
It will.
When it cools down, we'll see who the real players are at that point in the game because I've been doing this for a long time. I only stepped
I've
away
been
because I had
collecting for a long
You
time.
understand?
Yeah.
You see people come and go, but you know what? I do like to see the new people involved too. So I'm not just, I'm not discounting those people.
I know.
Let's just stick in the game. Don't invest your life savings into it.
That's
okay?
why on here I try to show a little bit of everything. Some entry level cars, some cars that someone coming back to the hobby or first time in may be looking at, and maybe something more expensive, something midpoint, something for everybody, so they can think about, if I want to collect, how do I even get started, or what am I looking at?
That's the biggest question, and that's probably the hardest answer at the same time, because I get asked that a lot, like from people that are reaching out for vendors or just in general for the show. They're like, I'm new to collecting. What do you, like I had a guy yesterday, he's like, I want to set up your show, but I don't know how to price anything. Well, you know what? I told him, I said, listen, you can go on eBay and you can do this and do that, okay? We don't know if some of that market's fabricated. Come to the show. See what guys are selling it for. Talk to people in the industry, right? That's the best way, because if you're not informed, again, going back to research in general, if you're not informed and if you haven't done your research, you may be selling too high or too low, and if you're selling too high, you may not sell anything. If you're too low, everybody buys everything, then you can't replenish it.
That's right.
Be informed. Be somewhere in the middle, right? But really, more than anything, like, have fun with it. That's the most important thing. That's why we keep this show affordable. We keep it affordable for the vendors. We want everybody to
Because I
come
hear
out.
from people about what it costs to get a table. I hear about all that. And this is a great show. That's why I wanted to come down and sit down and talk with you, because you can look around here. This is trade night. You look around, there's still a buzz. People are making deals. This is very late in the night. Yeah.
And we want that because it's good for the industry, but it's also good for everybody here. Here's the last thing I'll say too. The connections made through cards, friendships, not just like, oh yeah, shake my hand, we made a trade and this, that, and the other. I got a jaw, you got that, that's the end of it. No, you're now made a friend.
That's right.
Right? So when you make deals, good deals, of course, right? Both sides, equity.
Both sides should walk
Right.
away
Both sides.
feeling good about
Right.
the process.
When you make a deal, it's a friend. You should make a friend. That's what it should be. You should talk to Ashley. We're friends. He's a vendor.
Ashley's
We're
good
friends.
people. I've met him.
Friends. The industry, it's interesting. We center in on the money, on how much things go. Like ESPN, this Jordan card went for the Brady 1.8 million. How about the friends we make?
That's right.
How about all the people that we meet? How about the networking? This is networking at a different level, right?
Absolutely.
This is networking.
Absolutely.
Right? Networking doesn't have to just be like banking or whatever the field is. This is networking. And the way I look at it is I make lasting friendships with people like yourself, right? When the industry slows down, let's see where those people are at. But even if they're not around, we can still be friends with those people, right? There's no law against, you don't do cards anymore, you're not my friend. No. I know a lot of guys that have met other guys through these shows, right? Basically, and the shows are starting to come back a little bit, but they died out for a long time, right? But they made lasting friendships with these people. And there's so many things in common that some of these guys go to lunch with each other, do this, do that. It's not just about the cards, it's about the friendship.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. I think, like I said, three biggest points, have fun with it. Let's get these young kids involved more in the hobby with these big boys lowering the prices on some of this stuff, because they're making a killing on this, right? And then lastly, let's make lasting friendships through this stuff, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. You want to walk away, you get a card, you walk away, you're smiling and you're happy. But if you walk away and you get it from FD and you know that you got a deal, you're going to remember this guy going forward.
Very true. This is one of my favorite people. G and I talk about you all the time, and this show, and it's a family thing. What we do is a family
we got a
thing.
family here
That's
too.
what
We
it's
got
all
the
about.
family running
That's
here.
what it's all about.
Yep.
So before we go, tell everyone about your show.
Yep.
And what you're gonna be doing. I know we talked downstairs, but let them know here what you're gonna be doing in the future.
So this is our last show here in November. We're sad to go, but we're moving on to some bigger and better things. December, we're going to take a break. We're not going to be at the Sheraton, so please don't come here because there's not going to be anybody here.
That's right.
But in January, I don't have an exact date, but it looks like the 29th. In January, we're moving to a larger building. It's going to be a 13,000 square foot building. We're going to post a video. Here's the thing. We welcome anybody. If you've got cards, it doesn't matter if you've got little cards or big cards. We welcome everybody to the show, right? We want everybody to come out. We usually average between 30 to 40 new vendors every show, which is important because it's bringing in new blood, but it's also bringing in a lot of different friendships, trades, deals, right? You don't want the same stagnant people over and over. I love the loyal people, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying you want some fresh blood in there as well, right? So we're moving to that new location, 1 floor. You know, basically we're going to try to run it the way we run it here, but with more tables. We're starting to take orders for tables next week, so if you're interested in a table, you can put my link or whatever you want there, and you can DM me. The biggest thing that we're gonna try to do this year is we're gonna actually try to get PSA, HGA, SGC, and I've talked to them. We're gonna try to get them out to the show. They're actually at the show, so you can submit your submission there. I know they're a little bit behind in PSA, but they've caught up. But they're located here, so they can fly out here. And we're also looking for sponsorships. So if you want to sponsor the show, put your banner up, you know, put a pop-up kind of tent because we'll have the room now. We can do that as well. Admission is, we're going to keep everything low. We're not going to charge any more money. Admission's still going to be $3. The tables, maybe depending on how this all works out, maybe $5 more, but nothing crazy, right? I've been told by several big players in the industry to raise my prices up in order for you to get a big player there. Why? We want everybody to be able to partake in that. We may do a two-day show. If we do a 2-day show, we'll guarantee that we'll have some athletes and some people here to sign autographs. Not here, but at that location, to sign autographs. We're going to try to make it a nice event, family fun event with everything for everybody kind of thing. So that would be the 29th, 13,000 square feet, 3 bathrooms, which is great.
All right,
and potentially some food trucks. We'll see how it all plays out. But I know I've talked to a lot of the vendors here. They're ready to go. And we're taking more because we're going to do maybe around 300 tables. So double what we're doing here. So that's really it. And the last thing I'll say is I just want to thank my staff, which happens to be my fiance, my mom, my dad, my good friends, family friends, some other friends. I want to thank them for everything because honestly, without them, there's nothing here. There's no show. I mean, I can put in the work for this, that, or the other, but I want to thank them because they're really important to me. I appreciate my fiance. I love her to death. Love my parents to death. I appreciate all they did. But between the vendors, which I love all these guys here too, they all can tell you that. But my staff, my family, they do everything, and I appreciate them. So without them, we couldn't have done anything.
And every time we come, we meet them, good people. They take care of us, ask us what we need. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Yep. So that's it for me, guys.
This is Chris. Please support the Cardstock Trading Show. When it moves in January, we'll have all information on the show in the description box below, as well as how you get in contact with Chris. I really appreciate you, sir. Thank you, man.